What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Before we get into the video, as you see on the screen, here is my October Regal Unlimited recap. You see how many movies I saw that were different. You see my total movies and total savings. As you see, I am 15 movies away from 200, which will be wicked. But as you see, we are here talking about Tom Hanks and Robin Wright's new film, Here. Now, before we get into the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to follow me on all the social media pages. And without further ado, let's get into it. This week in movie releases, let's just get the cat out of the bag, is very slow. There are not a lot of big name movies. There's actually no big name movies that are releasing this week, which means it gives smaller productions an opportunity to shine, or people will still gravitate towards the bigger releases still in theater. Tonight I decided to go see Here because it looked like it could be interesting. It looked like a movie that would provide good storytelling, really focused on one center area of land. And it's focused on the house, and you see the families and the couples and the stories of the people that live there, but also the development of that specific area. Now, with this film, before we even get a little bit further into it, I will say right off the bat, it is a little confusing. Now, when you're watching this movie, if you're not paying attention and learning characters and learning their personalities and their stories, you will be lost. There is a lot of jumping around in this movie where you feel that you're getting to a storyline, then it cuts away. You see the next storyline, then it cuts away. Then it goes back to the previous storyline. I think it has, I didn't really even count, but I know it's at least 4 to 5 different storylines put into perspective. And so in many ways, as you watch this movie, you get a little lost. You see it, the story being told, and then you see a box appear. And the box takes you to the next storyline. And so for me, this was a little bit of confusion mixed with why do we need all of these jump cuts? Why can't we focus on a storyline, then go to the next, then go to the next? And really, I will say, it does a pretty good job of detailing the storyline of the timeline. So you do have a timeline that kind of makes sense. The beginning, I will say, the first 3 to 4 minutes of the movie was just kind of weird. And I honestly had to look at my own ticket to make sure that I was in the right theater, because I didn't know if I was trying to watch a Jurassic Park movie or watch a Tom Hanks movie. And so with that, it may distract people, but it may also limit the enjoyment factor for many people. Ultimately, what we see at the beginning of the film is Tom Hanks' character and him ultimately what it seems to be selling the house. But you see how really his parents had the house, the previous couples that had the house, and you really see Tom Hanks' character with Robin Wright's character grow in that perspective. In many ways, this is not your Forrest Gump scene where you have Tom Hanks as the dominant character, and then you have the whole backstory of everything that happens. Now, with this, I will say a weird part of this movie that I heard people make this comment before I went in was you see Tom Hanks, who I believe is 66, 67, somewhere in his 60s, have to be transformed into like a 18-year-old high school kid. For me, that was a little weird to see on screen, and just the voice and the accent that he's talking with, I was like, this is just, I don't know. And so then ultimately you see the two characters build their family, where they end up in life. And it's really just a continuation of all of that. Now, looking at my overall feelings of this movie, I am not a fan. And I'm not a fan because of the premise. I'm not a fan by the way the story was told. Like I said, there is a lot of confusion when there's so much jumping around. And so, yes, you see that specific house develop. Yes, you see the community grow. So you have the colonial times. You have the development of technology. Yes, you see, like, really history before your eyes is an easy way to put it. But if you, like I said, are not paying attention and you look down or you walk out, you're coming back with a completely different storyline that it may put you in a position where you don't know what the next part of the storyline will be. And so, like I said, a lot of it is the storytelling mixed with how it is presented that really is leading me to not be a fan of this movie. Now, I will say it is not a terrible movie, but it is a movie that just, I don't think it did what it needed to do. And I did read the ratings before I went in, and the ratings are already poor. It's not over a 5 rating, 5 out of 10. And so people, from what I read, enjoy what the storyline and the premise was supposed to be, but they say that it failed to deliver. And in many cases, I enjoyed what the storyline was supposed to be, but I completely agree with it failing to deliver. Now, when we get into rating, I was the only one in the theater because it was a late night showing. I was going to go earlier. There was a pretty packed theater earlier from the Regal booking when I was trying to book, but I decided to go against it so I could watch some high school football. I was the only one there. I kept looking around just to see if anybody else would come in. Nobody did. Leaving the theater, like I said, I thought it was a great storyline and a great premise of what it was supposed to be. I just don't think it lived up to the hype. I don't necessarily feel like I wasted time in this movie. I just feel that it could have been a lot better. But we get into rating. For me, I'm just going to go a 1.8 out of 5 because I feel like the 1.8 is really based on what the movie should have been versus what the overall outcome was. But Here is out now. It is not your Forrest Gump movie, even though the writers of this movie are from Forrest Gump. You have the two main characters. You got Forrest and Jenny back again. But 1.8 out of 5. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to follow me on all the social media pages, and I will talk to you all later.